It's a crisp and very cold evening. It's a nice time to chip away at some work before the sun sets. And tonight what I'm working on is processing feedstock for making charcoal in our wood stove. So let me share some notes on how I'm going about that. We make charcoal in our wood stove a number of times a day. If you're interested in way more in-depth details on that process, that workflow, there's a video I made in the past that I would highly recommend you check out. I'm linking to it here as well in the description. Basic gist of it is that we use stainless steel hotel pans. We got these from a local restaurant supply. I've invested in 3 sets of these over the years. Hundreds and hundreds of burns. They've deflected a little bit or deformed a tiny bit, but overall they're still rock solid. And the beauty part of heating our home with the process of generating biochar is that you can use almost any carbon feedstock you can imagine. We've put bones in there that are dry, nutshells, sawdust, even old rope and old clothing. All of that makes charcoal in beautiful ways. Right now, we've burned through literally all of that feedstock, and so what I'm doing is transforming some firewood that we have into material that's ready to use for making charcoal. I'm going through our firewood pile and looking for extra long or slightly oddly shaped pieces of firewood. Now, of course, we could just simply burn these and get heat from them, turn them into ash. That's fine. But if we pyrolyze these in our retort, we're going to be getting a lot more heat out of that. And at the end of the day, we're left with pure carbon, incredibly high quality carbon. So it's worth this extra step. What I'm doing is processing them with a chop saw. I've spoken before about how I really like using a chop saw for processing small gauge firewood, but I'd encourage you to not do this if you have any reservations whatsoever. In fact, don't do anything I ever suggest. Be safe. But what we're doing is taking firewood and cutting it down to sizes that will fit in this retort easily. And so in our case, the container we're working with, now these come in all sorts of different sizes with a loose fitting lid that doesn't allow oxygen in easily. In our case, it is roughly 9 inches across, so I try to not have anything ever longer than 8 inches, or ideally 7 inches, by 11 inches long. So I like to make all the pieces small enough that they'll fit lengthwise. The smaller they are, the more I can cram in there generally. And so the process is always safety glasses and ear protection. Nice heavy gloves. And I'll use the chop saw to cut this material down. The thing about working with a chop saw and round material is you don't want to go really fast, and you need to make sure you keep control on it because they can spin. So if you have any doubts, like I said, don't do this. Now these pieces are a little bit smaller, so it's much easier to fit them into this retort. They can go lengthwise, they can go at an angle, and I'll pack this in pretty tight when I go to load it. I've also been using this kindling cracker quite a bit. Now this you can certainly split with a hatchet. You don't actually even have to technically split even big round pieces. As long as they're very dry, the heat will penetrate through and it'll be fully charred without leaving a brand in the middle. But I like to split them, and I'll use this kindling cracker. I like it because it lets me hold on to it while I'm cracking, and now I've got 4 or 5 pieces that all fit in here very easily. So we'll end up having material that we can fit into this retort quite tightly, and then cap it with sawdust or wood chips or nutshells or what have you, and heat our home. Each one of these will heat our home for about 2 to 3 hours, a tremendous amount of heat. And at the end of it, once we safely bring it out, we let it rest in the garage, and we've got pure charcoal that we use all over the place in our landscape. So this is the workflow that I've been working with. I'm filling as many milk crates as I can, and we'll queue this up, and then hopefully we can start heating our home more than 50% with the syngases from making charcoal. Let me know what you think or if you have any other questions, and check out the resources in the description if you're interested in trying this. Thanks.